If you have questions or suggestions for future podcasts, please submit them in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Christianity is good for you. Hi, I'm Dave Arnott, the Christian Economist. Now, as the Christian Economist, I operate in two camps. Christians are concerned about the means, and economists are concerned about the ends. Now, it just happens that being a Christian is good for both. The ends are good because we end up in heaven, and the means here on earth are a bonus. The Apostle Paul said, to live as Christ, to die as gain. We win either way. Christianity is a twofer. Okay, C.S. Lewis quipped, aim at heaven and you'll get earth thrown in. Aim at earth and you will get neither. Ginger and I sometimes call this a twofer. You get twice what you expect. See, some call Christianity fire insurance because it keeps you out of hell. But it's a very different kind of insurance because instead of paying premiums, you receive premiums. Let me explain. As Dennis Prager asked in an interview this summer, if people are not getting their ideas from the Bible, where are they getting them? Well, the answer is many of their answers do come from the Bible, and more specifically from the Christian view of the Bible. They just don't know it. So much of the cultural water that we swim in comes from Christianity. In the book titled Martin Luther, Eric Metaxas makes it clear that there would have been no American Revolution without the Protestant Reformation. He's probably right. So the outcome of America itself is a testimony to the power of Christianity. William Wilberforce said, God has set before me two great objects, the suppression of the slave trade and the reformation of manners. Now, by manners, he meant morality. I like the book titled Amazing Grace, but there are other Wilberforce books that are good also. You may have noticed I cited two Eric Metaxas books in a row. See, he has a gift of writing, and his writing is a gift to current-day Christians. So a member of the royal family was keeping track of how many women he slept with in Wilberforce's time. The number was in the thousands. See, the point is, that was acceptable until the very committed Christian named William Wilberforce changed culture's view of manners, as he called them. While caring for the poor has a long history in Christendom, Wilberforce also renewed that call. Oh, and about slavery? William Wilberforce was the devout Christian who ended slavery in the UK 30 years before we did it in the United States. His crusade was clearly an expression of the Christian belief system. And his counterpart who ended it in the United States, Abraham Lincoln, said the following, God told me to free the slaves. Economics. In The Protestant Ethic and the Spirit of Capitalism, Max Weber did what all good social scientists do. He showed a difference. The difference was that after the Reformation in 1517, Northern Europe went Protestant and capitalist. Southern Europe remained Catholic and feudal. There are still remnants of that difference today. Simply looking at a map of Europe, you can draw a straight line through the four countries who struggle in the European Union. They are the pigs countries: Portugal, Italy, Greece, Spain. I often express it this way. How I see God determines how I see my fellow man. Yeah, well, there you go. A Baptist just crossed himself, okay? Oh, hey, Karl Marx said, religion is the opium of the masses. Well, it's better than taking real opium. It does enable us to live in a fallen world with greater joy. Oh, that's absolutely clear. But while opium only helps you forget your troubles while disabling you from fixing the world, Christianity both heals your current wounds and gives you the impetus to go out and do something about the fallen world. It's a twofer. Okay, John Stonestreet at the Colson Center is one of the smartest people I've ever heard. He operates in this Christianity and culture space. I'm going to quote him 3 times in this podcast. His recent Breakpoint podcast, co-authored with Casey Leander, is titled, Is Religion the Opium of the People or the Latter? He says, quote, economist Robin Greer conducted a cross-national survey of 63 formerly European colonies. She found that not only Christianity, but the level of Protestantism is significantly related increases in real per capita income levels. End quote from John Stonestreet. Many years ago, I co-authored a paper titled simply Christianity and Capitalism with my Dallas Baptist University colleague, Bobby Martindale. The first line of that paper reads, "Christian countries are richer than non-Christian countries." Another cite, in the introduction to his very good book titled For God and Profit, Samuel Gregg points out that the monks who essentially started what we now call free market capitalism wrote at the bottom of each financial contract the phrase that became the name of his book called For God and Profit. They were in the city-states of northern Italy. Caring for others. Now, when lecturing about the value of price gouging, I clarified that it was also good to give away products and services following a natural catastrophe, as the Texas Baptist men do. You know, strange. I've never seen the Texas atheist men giving out food and water after a hurricane. John Stonestreet again. A recent article in The Economist put it this way, he says, quote, "Religious belief really does seem to lessen the sting of poverty," end quote. Another example. Johnny and Chucky witnessed to prisoners in such a methodical way, they were derisively called Methodists. John and Charles Wesley adopted the name and built what was to become the largest Christian church in the United States in the 1830s. Another example. There are 3 hospital systems in the Dallas-Fort Worth area where we live. Baylor is Baptist, Methodist is, you guessed it, Methodist, and the third is a combination of hospitals under the name Texas Health Resources. Those examples are found throughout North America, where so many hospitals are named after Christian titles. Now, in his book Enlightenment Now, Steven Pinker wrote, "We no longer need a father in the sky." See, he tries to argue that we've moved on beyond God and we don't need him anymore. My response is that the university where Pinker teaches was saved from failure by the endowment of a lay Presbyterian minister named John Harvard. In his book, Gross National Happiness, Arthur Brooks states, even if you're not a believer, living amongst believers increases your economic status. That's because they produce greater value, which spills over onto you. Okay, how many San Franciscans know that their city was named after St. Francis? Here's how it happened. The 6th mission in California was established by Padre Junipero Serra on October 9, 1776, and was named, it's a long name, you ready? Mission San Francisco de Asís a la Laguna de las Dolores, which in English means St. Francis of Assisi at the Lagoon of Sorrow. Another example, St. Petersburg was not named for its founder, Peter the Great. He named it after his namesake, Peter, the follower of Christ, who the Catholics consider the first pope. Peter the Great himself is buried in a chapel on an island in St. Petersburg called the Chapel of Peter and Paul. Yeah, the list goes on and on. There really was a Saint Diego, a Saint Antonio, and a Saint Jose. Okay, when God told Abraham there was one God, the world changed and it has not gone back. Francis Bacon's invention of the scientific method grew out of his monotheistic assumption that God had created a structured world. You know, think about it. Why would you test gravity if you assumed it would be different in various parts of the world where there were various gods? It's only because he was a monotheist that he assumed humans could discover standardized rules of nature that could be applied in all situations. Political freedom. When King George heard that the American Revolution had started, he said, "They're following that Presbyterian minister." Well, that minister was John Witherspoon, then president of Princeton University. And that's why the Redcoats targeted his university at the Battle of Princeton. That the founders were Christian is beyond dispute, and I'll refer you to David Barton at Wall Builders for more on that. His book, The American Story, that he wrote with Tim Barton, is quite good, and it's worth watching his lecture on the subject. Yes, Some of the founders were deists, and Benjamin Franklin first was going to study the ministry, then moved a long distance from it. But during the difficult days of writing the Constitution, it was Benjamin Franklin who suggested a local minister be engaged to offer a prayer every morning. Where did the idea of equality come from? You've noticed that the founders in the Declaration of Independence claimed that equal rights came from their creator. Okay, I don't want to dig too far into comparative religion today, but the Hindus believe inequality is sanctioned by their gods. They believe you're born into a caste and you can only escape it in the next life. Christians don't make their fellow humans wait that long. Try it. It's good for you. Quoting John Stonestreet, regular attendance at religious services consistently correlates with longer lifespans, stronger immune systems, and lower blood pressure, as well as decreased anxiety, depression, and suicide. Kids raised in religious households have a lower incidence of drug addiction, delinquency, and incarceration. They're more likely to graduate from high school. In short, the nearly unanimous scientific consensus is that religious belief is good for you, end quote, from John Stonestreet. Christianity, try it. It's good for you. You will get a twofer. I'm Dave Arnott, the Christian Economist. Fear God, tell the truth, earn a profit. See you next time. For more information, please visit us online at davearnott.com. If you have questions or suggestions for future podcasts, please submit them online or in the comments section below. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe.